Hello again everyone, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if this is your first time here. Today, I am going to be unboxing the newest addition into my Spirit Halloween Zombie Baby collection, the second official prototype of the 2014 Unreleased Zombie Baby, Ratachewy. So for those who don't know, a few years ago, I was able to get my hands on one of the two original prototypes of this unreleased zombie baby, and when I made my initial review video of her, I mentioned that there were actually two different prototype models created for this prop. A larger model, which is the one I have here, but also a smaller version that features some different cosmetic features and a few other details. So now here we are again, and I was in fact able to snag the smaller prototype model. So now we have both models in the collection and are going to put them side by side to see how they compare to each other. So let's get into it. Alright, so I have cut all of the tape off of this box off camera. There was a lot of tape keeping this thing sealed. So the box is open, but I have not looked inside yet. So we're going to do that and see what she looks like. Oh wow. Alright, so it does look like she is in a couple of pieces here. We have this little piece here, which I'm assuming is a shoulder bracket. Then we have this wrapped piece here. This is clearly her arms with the rat that she is eating being held. They have some joints at the top here that are going to go into some sockets. Set that there. And then, yeah, here she is. There is the body. All right. Get this box out of the way. Set her up right here so we can see her. Wow, right away, the first thing I noticed is I did know that this was going to be a kind of a smaller model, but she's definitely a lot smaller than I actually initially thought she would be. She's definitely not as bulky as the larger version is. We'll get into that in a minute, but let's go ahead and set her up. So yeah, it looks like there are the holes for her arms and shoulders. So let's do that first. So first what we have to do is, this is very much like how the larger version of Ratachewy came together when I got her. So these both go through the dress, just like that. And then we take the little prongs here and connect these to the shoulder holes at the top, just like that. Perfect. And then this right here, which is, like I said, a shoulder mount, looks like, yep, there are two different sized holes right here that these will align with. Smaller on that side and larger on this side, and that will snap down like that. And then we just pull up the dress around her and seal it up. We'll fix her little sleeves here, make sure they're hiding some of those exposed arm bits, and we'll pull this up around her collar. And there we have it. So this is the official smaller prototype of the 2014 Zombie Baby Ratachewy. So now what we're going to do is we are going to put this side by side to the larger version that is currently off screen, so we can really do a proper compare and contrast. So here are both models side by side, smaller one on the left, larger one here on the right. So how do they compare to one another? So first of all, obviously, is the size difference between the two. It does appear on camera that they are around the same height, but that is actually because the head of this one here is tilting a lot more forward than she should be. That is because there is some rough kind of deterioration on this back side of her neck here. I'm not trying to fix that. I'm not trying to touch it because I don't want it to kind of fall apart any further. But realistically, if her head was held up the way it's supposed to be, it would look a lot more like the smaller ones is here, so it could raise up and down properly as part of its animation. But I think if her head was upright, you would definitely see the height difference between the larger and the smaller one, but as it is, they are now pretty similar in size. Obviously, the large one is definitely a lot bulkier. You can definitely see in the size of the rat and the arms and the head, especially compared to the smaller one. That is definitely a very noticeable change. Face-wise, they are pretty much the same. The eyebrows on the smaller one are more sketched on, whereas the ones on the larger ones are much more, kind of pronounced, like lined in. But the detail is pretty much the same between both models. This one obviously has her sensor in her mouth here, whereas this one has her sensor on her leg. And speaking of legs, that is the other big thing that the larger one does have working in its favor, is that under her dress, she actually has legs and feet under there. I did point that out in my initial review of her, and that is a very cool feature that I really like about her, even though I know it is not something that you would really see under her dress. I don't really know why they included them, but it's still very cool nonetheless. The smaller one here does not feature such, but is instead just a solid black base. She does, however, have a little bit more extra material here under her dress, which I assume is to kind of fill it out more and give it some stability. And speaking of her dress, that is actually the other big thing I noticed between the two, is the color variations between the fabric. This one here is a much lighter purple color, whereas this larger version has a kind of darker purplish pink color. So that is actually very cool to see that difference. I didn't actually notice that when I saw them in pictures near each other. I just assumed it was the same material. But seeing how different the dress color is really, really cool. And finally, the other big thing I do know about this smaller version of Ratachewy, this is the prototype that has the correct audio. This model over here, if you did not know, it has placeholder audio, so it does not have the audio that it's supposed to be for this prop, and instead actually has the audio of the alien baby, which I think is just kind of really funny. I was not expecting that when I first turned her on, so that was a bit of a jump scare. But this prototype over here does contain the correct audio files, so I will be uploading a demo video of her that I will link in the description below, so you can go and check out what she looks like on and hear how she is supposed to run and not sounding like some crazy extraterrestrial. But that is going to be it for my comparing of the two Ratachewy prototypes, small and large. I am so happy that I was able to get my hands on these smaller prototypes, and now I can say I have both of the original prototypes for this zombie baby prop. Yeah, I'm still really, really sad we never got this one in full production. She is definitely really, really cool, and I definitely think she would have been a fan favorite among zombie baby collectors had she been released in the Last Chance gas station. So who knows, maybe one day in the future Spirit will decide to give her another chance, but for now I am happy to have her as a part of my official Spirit Halloween zombie baby collection. So thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, I will see you guys later.